How many of you would agree that one of the biggest challenges we have, most of us, is to communicate effectively what we do? Well, you're in the right room, the right program. Today we're going to spend some time on that. This morning you already heard some of you get up and define yourself. And I'm going to ask you now, I had to change my whole beginning because of what happened here. Who do you remember? Who defined themselves in such a way where it was short, engaging, and repeatable? Who do you remember?
I thought Kathy Mays was great.
What do you remember?
That she's an interior designer who also helps you with your fashion to bring it in to make your home your own.
Okay. All right, we got Kathy.
There was a guy over in the corner talking about nonverbal communication.
Yeah, okay, good. Milo.
The risk of looking up, sucking up to a guest, Kathy was the one who stood out to me also, partly because of what she said and how succinct she was, but she smiled and she articulated and she turned to look at everybody in the room from a very difficult position to speak from in the center.
Okay.
And she handled it really nicely.
All right. Anyone else remember? Dennis?
I remember Suzanne talking about being a golf coach, so unusual.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that caught my attention as well.
Right, okay. Anyone else? One more?
Okay, I don't remember your name. What was your name over here? Diana. I remember her because she was very authentic and just really a natural herself.
Okay. All right, one more.
I remembered Janet because of the title of her book, and that is You Don't Ask, You Don't Get. So it was a very compelling subject.
Okay, great, great.
I remember this lovely lady here, because it was like a Pringle. It's like she didn't really say a lot, but I wanted to know more. Probably because I was curious about the subject. You know how with Pringles you travel.
Yeah. Tell me your name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, that's a great lead-in. Yes, your defining statement should be short, to the point. Describe who you are, what you do, and what you offer others, and exactly what you said. So today what we'll do is spend a little more time for those of you who want to power yours up if you already have one, and if you don't, it's time to have one. Do you know also that organizations have defining statements, not just individuals? For example, SDPCA is an organization that meets monthly, and we bring programs that feature speakers and networking to coaches who want to do better with their personal, business, and professional development. Is that about it? That's what we are. So keep that in mind. The other thing is the elevator speech. How many of you have heard that? Perhaps more common than the defining statement. Well, the elevator speech is just a phrase that was coined, suggesting that when you have one, it should be short, and it take as long as it is to go from the first floor to the second floor. Now, it can happen. You should be able to give an elevator speech on the elevator, but you're probably doing it more often at networking meetings, correct? Such as this one, as well as maybe when it's time to stand in front of the ATM, collect some cash, or your morning latte. There's a lot going on now at Starbucks. So there are different ways, different places for you to do that. Some of you are thinking, well, how do I improve my elevator speech or defining statement? So I would suggest that you need to write one first. So I put down a few tips here, and you might want to get them on your paper. How to write one. Okay, it's a simple question to a simple answer. What do you do? Keep it short, 15 to 30 seconds. Some of you today got them done maybe in 10 seconds. That was great. Make it conversational and repeatable. I remember Sheila up here, Mama Gums. Don't you want to know more? And that's another part of your defining statement or your elevator speech. You need to attract the listener to want to hear more. Will your ambassadors, your COIs, centers of influence, your advocates, will they be able to repeat to others what you do? Hey, they better, because these people are your referrals. They're your cheerleaders. If they can remember what you do and then they're in the presence of others, whether it be single folks, single people, I don't mean single, not married. How do you say that? Let's see. One-to-one, individual people, or in a group, they can say, I know someone who does that, or I know someone who has that product. Let me give you their card, or let me email you their information. So that's really important. Okay, so when we look at things like the defining statement, we also think, well, some of us do, remember that old radio station, Witham? Anybody?
It's all over my book.
What's in it for me, right? And that's basically what the statement's about. It's got to be a description of what you can do for others. It's about you. It's about them. It's not about you. You know, there's another piece here that would be interesting, and that is if you were to power up your email signature. How many of you have an automatic email signature that goes out with every email? That's good. That's a good show of hands. You should, because it's an opportunity to get people to do something. It should be a signature that creates action. What do you want them to do, whether it's to call you, to email you, or to get to your website. And also, it's a way to soft sell yourself. It really is. It's a soft sell. So keep working on that. Now, the other thing is, I would like to know how many of you are interested in knowing what my defining statement is.
Yes.
Okay, that's good, because if you said, no, I don't know what I would have done next. Basically, you can have several defining statements, and you should pull them out depending upon the group that you're speaking to and what reason. So as a speaker, you may have one. As a coach, you may have another. One of mine is, I help emerging and veteran professional speakers, business professionals, and coaches who would like to get more speaking engagements and higher fees. Now you notice that's all about you, not me. So it should attract interest, and it should bring somebody up to come up and say, how do you do that? And often I do have people come up and say, how do you do that? And I might answer, well, I do that one-to-one coaching, I do that face-to-face or by telephone. I work internationally with the use of Skype, as long as they speak English. I work Speaker University teleclasses, in-house coaching with corporations and other groups who need that kind of assistance. Basically, what I'm doing is sharing or covering all of the experiences that I've had as a speaker bureau owner, as well as a speaker coach for over 25 years. So once that's established, you'll notice there has to be some response from whoever you're speaking to. And the idea is to get to the point where you can actually close it and say, would you like to work with me? So those are the steps that you need to follow. Once again, defining statement about them, not about you, and keep it short. And also include the words, I help. People want you to help them. You know, they really don't care when there's lots of initials after your name. I really don't think they do. I think they want to know what is it that you do that they need to have, and that has to be clear in your defining statement. There are a few more examples before we practice a little bit here today. For instance, the Avon lady who gets up and says, I make women more beautiful. Are you interested? Or the business coach who would get up and say, I bring my clients more business than they know what to do with. Does that sound attractive? How about the IRS agent? I'm the fundraiser for the government. Anyway, there are different ways to catch attention. You notice how short all of those were, okay? So, what we need for you to do then is, in my final minutes here, to practice a little bit your defining statement. Because, as coaches, you want a clear one so that you can bring it to the platform, because there'll be opportunities to coach people one-to-one in front of an entire group, or you can coach an entire audience all at the same time. And that's all part of your speaking. So in order to do that, let's do a little group practice, okay? What I'd like you to do is to turn to your partner and give them your defining statement. Remember the things you have to do. You have to keep it short, 15, 30 seconds. You have to tell people what you do, who you do it best for. Okay?